and welcome to Real-Ationship Talk, the podcast hosted by yours truly, Teresha Young, where we have open, non-judgmental, heart-to-heart conversations about love, self-love, self-care, dating, and relationships. And for this week's episode, I am being joined by the phenomenal Careeta Robert-Green, who is an award-winning certified life coach and the founder of Born with a Gift. In 2010, she was one of the UK's youngest certified life coaches. Celebrating you! She now works with professionals and entrepreneurs to unwrap their gifts, gain clarity on their goals, and step into their personal power. This is done through online coaching events, group coaching, and one-to-one coaching. Careeta, welcome to the show.
Wow.
How
Thank
are
you so much. What an introduction.
Hey, I am bigging you up. Some phenomenal achievements there. And I'm really, really grateful for you joining me today. And I just know that this conversation is going to be gold. I'm
here for it.
Yeah, I'm ready for this conversation because you have got so much to share. I follow you on Instagram, I've seen your journey, and I think that this is going to be such a blessed conversation. So again, welcome and thank you for joining. So for those that do not know award-winning Careeta, please, can you share with us a little bit more about yourself, what you do, and also some of the key highlights that led you on your journey of being a certified life coach?
Absolutely. So for those who don't know me, my name's Careeta, obviously Teresha just said, and I'm the founder of Born with a Gift. And Born with a Gift is an online coaching company, and I work with professionals and entrepreneurs who are ready to go to that next level. They want to find their gifts, they want to find out how to gain more clarity and focus on their goals, and they want to build their personal power. Now, why this is important, because this was what started me on my personal development journey. When I was growing up, I didn't really have much confidence in myself. I grew up in the inner city girls' school, and it was really rough. I used to look at all the other girls and just want to be like them, and I lost who I was. I thought that I could find my confidence and self-esteem in those girls, and that just wasn't what was good for me. And I thought the only way that I could be successful in life was to go to university, get a good job, and then work my way up the corporate ladder. So after I finished university, I thought that employers would be lining up to hire me. And then lo and behold, millions of other people graduated as well, right?
Hey, so that's how it goes.
It's how it goes, right? I was in fantasy land, and I struggled to get my first job, and I was luckily enough to be able to get a job in a Fortune 500 company. And from the outside, it looked like I was doing really well. You know, I had a good job in a big company. I was getting loads of money. But then I felt unfulfilled. I felt empty. I felt like I could be doing more with my life. I felt I had a bigger purpose. And I remember sitting in the office and just staring outside the window, waiting for 5 p.m. to come so I can go home and just, do something else that wasn't work. But I was really good at my job. And somebody introduced me to life coaching and said that a life coach will be able to help me find my purpose in life. And I'd never heard of a life coach before. This was 2009. And I thought, if there's anyone in the world that's going to be able to help me, it's going to be a life coach, right? It sounds really cool. And she sat down with me and we looked at what my goals were. What's my 5-year plan? What's my strengths? What's my weaknesses? And I had no idea. I could tell you all about EastEnders. I could tell you about everybody else's life and what was going on in people's lives. But I'd never sat down and thought about what my life was and where I was going. Yeah. And that led me on the beginning of my personal development journey. So I said, this is amazing. I got really big transformations from our coaching sessions, and I wanted to train to be a coach myself. So I went to train to be a coach with the Coaching Academy. And back in 2010, there weren't many people that were like me, age 24, being a life coach. It was mainly corporate senior professionals who had been working for about 25 years in the corporate world. And then there I was rocking along saying, I'm going to be a life coach, right?
I'm going to change your life.
Change your life. I'm going to heal the world, right? I was just on cloud nine. And it was an amazing experience. Some people used to laugh in my face when they saw me because they just thought I wasn't being serious, but it was my gift. You know, I found out through coaching that my gift was to empower other people to unwrap theirs. So this was an amazing experience for me. And that's when I started Born with a Gift. And the whole idea behind Born with a Gift was to share a positive message that we are all born with a gift. And we all have special skills, talents, and gifts that we can use to be successful. But so many times we're looking at other people using their gifts and not looking within ourselves to find out what our gifts are. And so that was the beginning of that journey. And I went on to train, coach hundreds of professionals who had never heard of coaching before. I used to run events in hotels, and hundreds of people would come. I'd have guest speakers that were young entrepreneurs, and they'll come along to the events as well. And it was about creating an environment where professionals who may not have heard of life coaching before could come, set goals, manage procrastination, find their gifts, and really step into their personal power. Now, this is quite revolutionary because at the time, social media was becoming quite popular. So I gained a lot of my people through Facebook and going on Facebook, posting motivational quotes. And then I'll start taking pictures of me at events speaking. And it was the beginning of that social media influencer type period before it was the big thing, right? It was just, you know, you just done it because that was the time where it was kind of getting a bit hot. And I'd done a lot of work and I helped a lot of people during that time. One of the things that I didn't do was continue to invest in my own personal development. So I was pouring into everybody else, coaching everybody else, helping everybody else. And I was becoming like an empty cup. And that was very hard for me because I couldn't serve anymore. I literally got to the stage where I could not help anyone because I was so drained out. So I came offline, deleted my social media, and I went to work in the corporate world in HR because that was, again, one of the things that I thought would make me happy. So for years, I was working in different some of the UK's largest companies, working in HR in those companies, really doing well, but not always feeling like I got full recognition for some of the work that I'd done. I felt like I was doing a lot of work, a lot of hours and not really getting much back. So again, I got to that stage of feeling like I had a bigger purpose, knowing that I have a gift now and what my gift is and seeing the amazing results of when I actually use my gift, but not doing it. And that got a bit frustrating for me after a while. So I found out about an organization called Landmark, and I went there and started to rebuild myself through personal development. I invested in loads and loads of courses because I really needed to find out who I was again and start to create the life that I want to live. And that helped me because in 2019, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And at the time, I didn't really share it with many people. I didn't want everybody to start to feel sorry for me. It was a personal journey for me that I was on. And it involved a lot of hospital appointments, taking medication. And every time I took the medication, I'd feel so tired. I'd have to go to bed. It was very strong. So I was fighting this private journey, rebuilding myself, healing and growing. And then in 2020, everything changed for me. It was the start of COVID. And at the time I was working for a big FTSE 100 company and they cut all the contractors due to COVID. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have no income. What am I going to do? Stressing about that. And then I got news that my best friend of 18 years had passed away suddenly. And this was the friend who I was sharing my personal brain tumor journey with. We grew up, we lived together, we went to uni together. You know, that one person that you have that you pick up the phone and you call when anything good happens, anything bad happens, like my sister, the closest person to me. So that really knocked me for six, because she was always someone that believed in me, in my dreams, in anything that I'd done. And she was majorly successful herself. She was planning a wedding. She had a 4-year-old son. It was just so traumatic for me. So I sat back down and said to myself, what is my legacy?
Yeah.
She would be wanting me to continue with everything that I want to do in life and living my best dreams and helping other people. And that's how I got back in touch with Born with a Gift. And I relaunched it as an online business. And since doing that, I've coached hundreds of people, but not just in the UK now, it's global, right? So I've got ability to coach people around the world. And I ran a series of masterclasses and hundreds of people turned up. I've got over 100,000 views on my Instagram Reels. I've done a post on LinkedIn the other day, and like I got over 40,000 views on it. It's just crazy. It's just been super, it's been like amazing. But the most amazing thing out of all of that is that I'm able to empower people to unwrap their gifts and start that personal development journey that helped me to become who I am today. So at a high level, that's a bit of my journey.
Wow. Do you know, I'm sitting here and there's so much I want to ask you, because thank you for sharing your journey. What a roller coaster of a journey that you've experienced in all different dynamics of your life, from your personal relationships to your career and ups and downs, to your personal experience of the brain tumor. And just know, for everyone who's listening here, is all okay on that front now? Have you recovered from that? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say as well that through medication and mindset shifts, my tumor went into remission last year, and I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for the journey, and it's made me refocus on what's important in life.
Isn't life funny? Because it's supposed to know when you are thrown lemons, make lemonade. And it's often through some of our dips that we find our power, we find the motivation, the incentive to bounce forward and do something with that. So you say born with a gift. And I just want to kind of rewind back to when you were at school.
Yeah.
And you had that experience with the other girls and almost trying to be accepted and fit in with that group of girls. On reflection, because if we are all born with a gift, can you see what gift you had at that time but was not able to share it in the way that you wanted to share it?
That is an amazing question. And at that time, I couldn't, because I was so focused on looking at other people using their gifts and just putting them on this major pedestal that I had no time to look within myself and think what's my gift is. I didn't think I had anything special about me. And because my focus was so fixated on other people, I wasn't going to ever find anything special about me. And my mindset was so negative. I didn't believe in myself. I used to look in the mirror and hate what I saw. When I look back at some of the poems I used to create, it was all negativity and hatred, and and I don't know where that came from, because I wasn't brought up like that. But it's when I got into secondary school, that was the most traumatic experience for me, because I just didn't know who I was. And when you're looking externally for people to validate who you are, you get confused of what you should be, because it's like a medley of other people's opinions and what works for them. And without that time and focus, I couldn't see what was working for me or who I wanted to create myself as.
That's so interesting. And I know you spoke about poetry there, and although when you look back at it and just think, oh, how negative was that word, where did that come from? What a powerful way of releasing any anger and frustration, because I'm a huge advocate of journaling as well, as a way of releasing, witnessing your thoughts, your feelings and your emotions. And whilst you might not have known in a way, poetry was a form of journaling in a way, because it was allowing you to release. What a powerful way of releasing that. And then also to witness your journey now, because when you read back over them, you think, that's where I was. I didn't know no different, because of this medley of, you know, people's perceptions, their behaviors, their actions that you were absorbing at that time. And to think, wow, that's where I was. Would you say, therefore, because you help people to realize and actualize their gifts, that it's something that should be educated at a younger age? Because if this is something that's not being tapped into from a young age, like at school, do you see benefit on teaching this at a younger age?
Absolutely. You know, when it's all about self-esteem and knowing who you are. And once you have that, you know, I have a gift, that belief in itself is something for you to look forward to. And the whole idea of born with a gift is if you had this at a young age, then it would help with a lot of self-doubt, self-limitations, people not believing in themselves. Because I always say, imagine that everybody is born with a gift and they have a gift within them. And once they take the time out, so imagine I give you a gift now, right? And it's wrapped up in, like, what's your favorite colors? What's your favorite colors?
I would say my favorite colors is like a rose gold type color. Okay. Yeah, let's go for
rose gold, right? So we've got a gift wrapped up in loads of rose gold wrapping paper. And it's like past the parcel wrapping. So there's layers and layers and layers of this gift, right? And your mission in life is to unwrap all of those layers of that present, of that gift, to find out what's inside. So every time somebody says to you, oh my gosh, you're really good at that, you unwrap a layer. Every time you do something that you love, you unwrap a layer. And every time people come to you for a specific thing, you unwrap a layer. And in the middle of that, that's your gift, right? And I describe a gift as like a natural talent or ability. And so you know, I'm going off track.
No, you're not. This is so on point. I've just got this image of this rose gold wrapping paper being thrown everywhere, and I'm like, how would you see is that piece of share? That's gem. That's a real gem. So are there any misconceptions that people have about the gift that they may hold?
Absolutely. So that I can't count the amount of times people come up to me and go, Careeta, I'm not born with a gift. There's nothing, you know, special about me. And I always say, we're looking at gifts like they have to be this big shiny object, like a Jay-Z or Beyonce type of singing. However, you know, that's lovely to have, right? And it's very obvious and easy to find. But sometimes our gifts are just more wrapped up than other people's. And we might miss them because that person who cooks amazing, right? And nobody doesn't cook like them. And you don't know the way that they put the seasonings together and they just get it just right all the time. Like, that might be their gifts. You know, someone might be amazing at numbers and other people might struggle, and they naturally are able to just calculate things, and it's not learned. This is a natural thing for them. That might be their gift. And even for me, finding out about coaching being my gift, it's not a tangible thing. You can't see that I could do that. But when I transform people over years and years and I'm able to do it again and really quickly, that's a gift for me. I could do it all day. It's natural.
A natural gift. Would you say that your gift is therefore something that you're passionate about? Is it because if you follow your passion, then that's your natural gift? Does that make sense?
Yeah, usually it's linked to your passion. If you love doing something, if it comes to you easily and freely, if you could do it all day and all night, that's usually linked to your gift.
Okay, so some challenges that I have, because you know, I'm a coach myself, is that when it comes to people's talents and their passion, they often feel that it's something they have to do and get paid for it. And sometimes when it comes to just stepping into your gift and using your gift and following your passion and your purpose, I often say that when you follow your passion, it will lead you to your purpose because you're doing something that fulfills you. It doesn't have to be paid work. It can be something that you do on the side as well as being in a paid job. So do you sometimes feel that is a blockage from some of your clients when they think about gifts?
You sometimes think, my gift is there, I need to get paid for it. And sometimes it is a great to monetize your gift, because then you could do something that you love, and then you can also get paid for it. There's a lot of people that have gift guilt, right? So they think because it's so easy and natural for them that they can't really charge for it, because it comes so naturally to them. So you see a lot of holistic therapists who are really good at Reiki or helping heal people. They have a lot of guilt around being able to charge for that, you know. And there's a whole we could be all day speaking about the money mindset around our talents and our gifts. But what I say is that if you don't charge for your gifts and you go around giving it for free, and you have no other source of income, then you're going to have to go and get a job somewhere else. And if you're happy to do that, that's fine. But if you really want to learn about the business of how to monetize your gifts so you could survive and feed your family and pay your bills, then explore that route.
Lovely piece of guidance there. What about coaching in itself? Because now I've been there myself when we talk about the whole service. And when I first started off coaching, I did feel bad about charging for people. Or if I had the intention, I would give them a discount on it. I've known you for a few years, here's mates rate. You know, it's kind of like, and I did have a huge problem at first about, you know, charging for my service, because there is this myth, I would say, out there that if you have a natural talent, such as being a healer, or you can coach people, or you can help people to feel better about themselves, that you should do that just from pure kindness. Don't charge for the service. But as you said, although it's not tangible, it's not a product necessarily that you are providing. Sometimes it is a product. If it's coaching, you know, piece of information that you're giving, it could be a product, but a lot of it is invisible. But the transformation, the result is incredible that comes from it. And there was Gabby Bernstein actually that had a quote about money mindset, because we could be here forever talking about money mindset. And it was like something along the lines of, I'm going to completely paraphrase this, is I give great service and I deserve to be rewarded and paid for that service. So it just depends upon what kind of route you want to take. If you want to charge for it, it's getting comfortable. Firstly, would be uncomfortable about charging for it. And then also it may work out that you just don't charge for it for a little while, until such point that it feels natural and you start to charge for it. So when it comes to coaching and the service that you provide, do you find that there are any limiting beliefs or any misconceptions that people have about coaching, or reservations that people have about coaching?
Absolutely. This is so fun. I'm trying to withhold my laughter.
No, laugh away. Come on. share away, because
right? So I've been a coach for over 10 years now, right? And when I first got my certificate, I thought the world needed coaching. Everybody needs a coach, right? I was that girl. Like the minute you mentioned you had a problem, I'll be like, hey, how can I help you?
Yeah, exactly. How can I get you from A to B right now?
And fit in that gap, right? Yeah. And I you know, one of the things I've done a lot of stuff for free. I'll be honest. I undervalued what I'd done. I thought that if I charge, people won't necessarily want to pay for me to do it. I didn't have a lot of experience as a coach as well, because I was brand new. So I did do a lot for free. And I found a lot of the times when I'd done things for free or really discounted, people didn't value it, right? So I'd give free sessions away and they wouldn't turn up. And I'll be sitting waiting for them and they wouldn't show up, right? And or they wouldn't do the work. They'll do the work in a session and then they'll have work to do after the session. They wouldn't do it. And then it made me really think, I've invested in my personal coaching. I've invested in getting a coach for myself. I've got all of the experience that I need to have now. If I'm going to charge someone, they'll value it more, right? Because when you pay a lot for it, I've invested very heavily in some courses like over the past few years. And every time I see that money coming out my bank account, I'm like, I'm going to do some work, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm investing money, so I'm going to invest in me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had to myself do a lot of money mindset training, because I don't know if you've seen that Oprah show where she goes, and you and you and you and you, and she's giving away all these prizes, right? That's what happens when you just give away your services for free. It's amazing, but then sometimes people don't always value it.
Yeah.
And I want to do a disclaimer here, because at some points it is good to do things for free.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if you've got an income or money coming in and there's a way to pay your bills and you're not going to be homeless, that's fine. It doesn't have to be from your gifts or talents. But if you are solely relying on your gifts and talents to make a difference in people's lives, and you're not earning any income, you will get frustrated and you'll start to resent the actual thing that you love to do. Absolutely. Because you can get like made homeless, in debt, you definitely just start to distance yourself from it.
Yeah, completely hear that. There's an element of responsibility that we do have to take at the same time, because we're all living, we've got bills to pay, we have to feed ourselves, nourish ourselves, our families, and so forth. So we have to be very logical about the approach that we take, but also finding ways to tap in to your gifts. So even if you are in a 9-to-5, still find ways to connect with that gift, with your passion. And it could be some form of personal development, it could be reading the book, it could be just some way daily to still tap into something that brings you joy, that lights you up. It's such an antidote to a situation where you might not want to be right now. So you've spoken about how you transitioned from the HR world. I was a HR manager myself there, so I know that world. And I remember those days of looking out that top window, looking for that 5 o'clock time to come on. I'm like, hey, let's go. But yes, so you transitioned from the corporate world into entrepreneurship. How did you find that transition? And have you got any guidance for people who are looking to transition from corporate to being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I thought that if you worked in the past, I used to think that if you had a full-time job, and this is what I was told from like senior mentors and stuff, if you had a full-time job, you weren't a serious entrepreneur. Right. And so I quit my job at that time. When I had that really big successful job back in the day, I quit that job. And I was so silly. I should have just kept it and done my business on the side and built it first and then quit the job. But I just went full in. I was like, I'm an entrepreneur now. I'm a young entrepreneur. The money will come. No plan on how this money is going to come, but the money will come. Right?
Believe in seeing.
Believe in yourself. Let's manifest money, and no real plan, and giving away all my coaching for free. That doesn't work. It doesn't. And when you get really clear on how much money do I need to cover for my bills every month for me to feel comfortable and live, and how much money do I need to earn for my business? Okay, that's how much I'm going to charge, my rates, right? And I find now that people respect my rates. They respect it. Once people see how they can get results and make the transformations in their life, they're either going to buy from you or they're not, right? And if they're not, then you might not be the coach for them at the time, and they might find someone that's more suitable. But for me, I don't make it mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. So that transition from full-time to full-time employee to full-time entrepreneur, there may be a middle bit where you're working full-time and then running your business on the side. And there's nothing wrong with that if you can balance it out. And I actually recommend saving at least 3 to 6 months worth of money, because you're not going to get customers usually straight away. There's going to be a bit of a time where people need to know you, watch you a bit on social media, start to see you getting some results. And then when they trust you, they'll invest. And it's a journey. And there's a lot of people who have got loads of money behind the scenes, making it out like it's coming from their business, but it's not. They have other ways of making that money. So we are comparing ourselves, and it's not equal. So don't compare yourself from anyone you see outside. You don't know what their individual situation is. Do what you got to do, make it work. And stay true to yourself.
That's exactly what you're saying as well. And there's that quote out there, probably going to paraphrase this as well. It's like, do not compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20. Because there has been a journey, and we don't know that person's journey, but as long as you start, That is key. And that's the thing, as long as you start, because one of the key words you used at the start of our conversation was procrastination. And there is sometimes a blockage and a fear that stop people. What would you say are some of the key fears that lead to people procrastinating?
So procrastination, I talk about procrastination a lot, and it's one of the biggest dream killers out there.
Yeah.
And some of the time I'm finding a lot of the procrastination comes from fear of failure, or on the flip side, fear of success.
Yes.
Right? A lot of us are so ambitious, we've got big goals, but we're scared that what happens when we get there, you know, and we're so certain of ourselves. We know that we're going to get there. And we say, oh, I know I'm going to do it. It's going to be done. You know, I always do what I say I'm going to do. Let me just watch this 7 series of Netflix and clean up the whole house and kitchen, mop the floor before I, you know, start a website or start reaching out to clients, because I know I'm going to get clients. It's going to be fine, you know. So that procrastination will creep in as a way of distracting us from what we really need to do. And the longer we procrastinate, I always say, are you procrastinating on your purpose?
Ooh.
Are you procrastinating on your purpose?
That's a deep question, Careeta.
Deep question.
Whee!
Deep question, right?
Wow. And if so, why?
If so, why?
If so, why? And this is when the limiting beliefs will start to pop up in terms of maybe it's low self-worth, fear of failure, fear of success, not even knowing. It's that clarity and that goal setting, because this is what you do as part of, is helping your clients to gain clarity and the whole goal setting aspect of it. Because I've got a coach, and I feel that every coach still needs their own coach. So when I'm starting to elevate my business, and she will say to me, okay, so when you get your 20 clients come through, what's your automation system like? So I'm like, yeah, about that. So it's about, sometimes that fear of success is like being ready for it to happen tomorrow. You know, so if it was to happen tomorrow, prepare yourself. I love this other quote. Look, I love quotes. Me
too.
Yeah, I love quotes. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Get ready.
Hey. So if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready for it. So prepare yourself for it. And as part, because I work with a lot of women as well, mainly women that I work with. And I will always say, as part of being an empowered, defined feminine woman, it's all about preparation, so that you are ready to receive in your feminine energy what is coming to you as part of that, which is so, so key. Now, something else I want to ask you, Careeta, is because you've had a journey, and we've spoken about the ups and the downs, the ebb and the flow of life. What have you done? What practices have you put in place to take care of yourself, your mind and your body, your spirit, even along your journey?
You know, one of the biggest revelations I had on this journey is don't try and do it all alone. And I thought that I had everything on lockdown. You know, I got this.
Yeah.
And I'm full of bull BS, right? I'm not fair, but I'm full of it, right? I am full of it. And if left alone to my own devices, I probably wouldn't do much.
Yeah.
I realized the importance of having an accountability structure.
Amen. Yeah.
Life coaching. I've been through counseling. I do heavy personal development through landmark courses. I do holistic healing through Reiki. I've got a whole well-being support group, which you know about.
I do indeed. Fantastic group.
It's an amazing group, and it's about having that spiritual side balance as well. I'm Reiki 1. I make sure I take out time through meditation, through journaling, through daily affirmation. Like, I'm doing it all. I'm not trying to go back to where I came from. I'm growing, I'm creating, I'm learning, and I know that takes heavy investment in my personal in my own personal development, because I have to hold space for other people. And if I'm all messy and I'm not clear in myself, in my head, I'm not going to be able to give that space for other people to share what's showing up for them.
That's so powerful, because self-love and self-care, which is also what this show is all about, really sets the tone for everything else that you give to the world. At the start, you spoke about just feeling like empty, like you had an empty cup. And, you know, we can't pour from an empty cup. We need to pour from the overflow of the cup. We don't want anything in our cup to diminish. You know, it's from the overflow that we give, and pouring into ourselves through things like meditation, journaling, pausing, just taking that moment means that you can give the best to yourself, and then also to all of your relationships, whether that's your career, you know, your clients, your family, your friends, whatever that might be. So I thank you for sharing that, because it's really encouraging to people about the value of taking care of yourself. And it shouldn't also be when we are perhaps diagnosed with something very serious or have a medical condition to say, oh, now I need to take care of myself because I've got a symptom. It's about managing it so that you can mitigate the symptoms, you know, if possible, as much as possible there. Because I know you had a personal healing journey as well. And you've also worked through grief. And that's a significant healing process to go through. So, you know, I witness you and, you know, honor you for working through that and using that to help you realize how you can share your gift with the world, even more so with the spirit of your friend behind you. So I know energetically, she's so proud of you. She really is. So I'm going to pivot the conversation. Okay, and we're now going to move on to relationships.
Ooh, let me get a drink.
Yes. Have a little sip, because, you know, we are amplifying this conversation even more so. So, Careeta, just reflecting upon some of your romantic relationships, either current or past, what have been some of your experiences? With no judgment here, just, you know, what have been your experiences? I'd love for you to share that with us.
Absolutely. So, some of my experiences, I've been on a quite unique journey with relationships. And it's one of where I used to think of relationships that every relationship that I was getting into, that man was going to be the person who I marry and have children with, right?
I remember that, because I remember back in the days I used to turn my surname into their surname, write it down and practice the signature.
Only they knew. I had plans that they didn't know about.
Yes.
And, you know, that was the problem. They didn't know about those plans, and they clearly didn't have those plans for me. And when I found that when I was looking for love in other people, in men, that I weren't building that love within myself.
Yeah.
And if all the love that I had was coming from them, then what would happen if they disappeared? So I was coming from a very broken, unhealed and needy place in previous relationships. And it wasn't very empowering for them. And it wasn't empowering for me either. So I've been cheated on. Some of the men have had children when they've been with me in relationships. There's just been drama. And this was before my personal development journey.
Okay.
I wasn't setting intentions with the relationships. I wasn't really focused. Well, hold up, let me peel that back. I was setting intentions in my head.
But we're communicating.
We're communicating these intentions, right? They didn't know what I had in my head going on. And I realized that is a problem.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a relationship and you're building with somebody, there should be some aligned goals as to where you're going. There should be a plan for the future. And if there's not any of that, Steve Harvey in Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, he talks about the 3 Ps. So to protect, to provide, and to profess. And when I look back at some of the relationships that I've had, I've realized that weren't really going on. Yeah. The men weren't really protecting, providing, and professing for me. It was a long, I'll be honest, it was a long time ago. I've been on a self-love healing journey. I need some space before I get into a relationship for a while now. So back then when those situations were happening, I realized that there was no protection really going on. They weren't providing for me, and they, for sure, I was a lot of little people's secrets, right? Let's keep this on the down low, right?
I hear
And
you.
then I remember I was seeing this guy for about 10 years, and in my head, we were going to get married and have children. It was on and off, right? And then one day my mum just stopped me and she said to me, why have the cow if you can get the milk for free?
Mummy.
Mummy.
She gave me some real talk there.
She was giving me some real talk. And this was coming from a woman who met my dad in school. My dad used to throw pieces of paper in her afro. And I've seen a committed, loving relationship for years and years and years. And I know that there are men out there that commit fully when they're interested in a woman. And it just made me think, you're right. Why am I giving away the milk and I'm the cow and I'm just sitting here by myself, wondering what's going on? This isn't right. This is not how I've been raised. Where is this coming from? Well, that was coming from a place of lack of self-worth, lack of self-love, feeling that I'm going to find love in other people, not sharing intentions and setting goals for what we're looking for in the future. It was coming from a weak and vulnerable place. And I was never going to get what I needed from people because I didn't have that within myself.
Yeah, I completely hear that journey. And it's so relatable. People listening to this are going to relate to that situation. And there are many people who have been in connections with people for many years as well, just thinking that, and there's so many red flags, but ignoring the red flags in that situation. So you've spoken about the 3 Ps there, which is a phenomenal share. So thank you for sharing that. Now, thinking back to those 3 Ps, could you say, so for example, one of the Ps is professing that you said there. Was there a red flag that's cropped up over the years where you thought, oh, okay, that person hasn't professed to me? What does professing look like to you?
Professing is people knowing that I'm somebody's partner and they're not scared to share that, right? It's not no little secret, don't tell anyone, you know, let's keep this on the down low. So this is my woman. Yeah. And I'm not guessing whether we're in this for marriage or children. I know what's going on. It's not a guess game. Like at this stage, I'm too old for guest gaming. There's no guest gaming going on, right?
Yeah.
And well, that's a whole nother story. But back then there was just, the profession wasn't there, and yeah, it was just unhealthy.
And something else that you shared is just still looking for that love for somebody else. And what would happen if that person walks away in that situation? So I'm just going to talk about that situation in terms of when those relationships came to an end. Did you grieve the relationship? Did you feel a sense of loss from that?
I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess, right? If you are looking for love in somebody else and they don't give it to you, that means there's no love. Yeah. So it just reinforced my lack of self-love, self-hate, not feeling good enough. Am I worthy? I deserve this. All of that was showing up for me.
Yeah.
I was, someone said to me, if you don't know how to love yourself, someone will come along and treat you how to hate yourself, and then you'll confuse the two things.
Wow. That is a really powerful way of thinking about it, because all of your insecurities are elevated, particularly when it comes to relationship breakdowns, because I've been there myself, and you really do question yourself. Could I have done something different? Or if that person has, gone on and they've found another person, for example, it's like that comparison, like, so was I not good enough? That those all of those limiting beliefs start to pop up. And am I not worthy of love? Am I not good enough to be loved by somebody? Am I not good enough to be publicized, to be made known that I am your partner, and for us to be proud in that connection without having to hide it or anything like that? So you've spoken about the power of communication when it comes to relationships, and going into another relationship at some point that you feel completely ready to. What would you do differently?
Right. And this is important because my self-love journey and personal development journey has meant that I've been healing over the years, working on clearing the past. I was walking around with a backpack full of rubbish. And every time I had another failed relationship, I'll pour more stuff into that backpack and it's heavy.
Oh, yes.
So I've been working on clearing that backpack so that when I come into a new relationship, that backpack is empty. And I'm at a space where when I was seeing that person for 10 years on and off, and I had a conversation with my life coach, she asked me, what's your intentions with him? And what's his intentions with you?
Yeah.
And I came out of that call and I picked up the phone. I called him, like, what's your intentions with me? He had nothing to say. Oh. You know, we're just seeing how it goes, all of that stuff. I'm like, he got locked off that day.
Oh. You see, you gained clarity on that day and he went that day. You got clear. He was unclear. He
was gone. I haven't got time for it, you know. And then that guy, he went on and he met the woman of his dreams. They got married. And there was no, you know, delays or anything. You know, when a man's clear, you'll know about it. You don't have to do this whole guess game and where are we? What are we? Like they'll make it known.
They'll make it known because it's in their energy. This is what they do. They are the provider and they want to protect. They want to own.
But not in a weirdy kind of obsessively way.
That's a red flag in itself. That's a red flag in itself.
That's, you know, you should feel,
you have to feel comfortable with the type of they're wanting to be there for you and saying, you know, you're my woman in terms of I want to be with you. You are the one. You know, there's nobody else. There's no other weird intentions.
Yeah. So it's about that clarity, that focus, knowing where you're at, doing your own inner healing. I'm gonna be with somebody who's done their healing too, because I used to try to be Superwoman and save men, right?
You're not alone. Oh my goodness. And it's that whole confusion. We try to be Superwoman in all aspects of our life, and it's just the way that we can confuse our natural nurturing disposition, taking care of people, for actually smothering them and disempowering them. So and sometimes for a man even like emasculating them by stripping away what they want to be able to do. So you're not alone when it comes to that whole Superwoman side.
It's just being clear.
Would you feel comfortable communicating that from the get-go? Because what I find when I start working with a few women who have had, you know, some tricky dating relationships and so forth, that they just don't feel comfortable talking about their needs and talking about their goals from the start of meeting somebody. Would you feel comfortable setting that scene from the start?
Yeah. Because then they could decide if they're in or out.
No time wasters. No time wasters.
We got time to waste.
Exactly. You know, life moves on and we can actually just explore. That's so key. That is really, really key, because you can read lots of stuff out there. There's lots of stuff online about certain rules when it comes around dating, and that you may chase that person away if you communicate what your needs are. If you want to be a wife one day, you can say that from the start. Look, I'm looking to be a wife one day, particularly if we as women are approaching a certain age and we're hitting our 40s maybe or above, and we want to have a family, you know, time's ticking kind of. So being very clear about that from the start is so helpful, I find, as well, and my clients have found, just for that clarity, because you want to be, I always say this, so for people who follow my show, you probably hear me say this a lot. Relationship can be broken down into two words. You've got relation plus ship. So the relation part is all about how you relate with the other person, you relate with your partner, the date. And the ship is to ensure that you both are sailing that same ship from the start, heading in the same direction, going to the same destination. If you can get that clarity from the get-go, it saves time, it saves energy, it can save emotional turmoil as well. The grieving process, if it doesn't come to an end, that sense of loss. So hearing that you would say you would do differently, you would communicate that from the start, is really, really good. Do you, because you're a very, very connected person and would understand the power behind having values, as well. Would you say for your relationships going forward that having shared values is important to you too?
Absolutely. And being really clear about it.
Hmm.
In this at this stage in my life, it's important to have the clarity, the values, the long-term plans in alignment. Otherwise, why am I wasting my time? Why are you wasting your time? You know, when in our 20s, I think it's nice to have fun, play around. As we hit like near 40s, things get a bit different. You know, you're looking for lifelong partners, somebody you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And if you want to have children and settle down, they don't want children. Why? If you want children, that's probably not going to work, right? Or if you want a serious committed relationship and they want to go and date multiple people, that's not going to work. Okay. And one of the things I never used to do was be clear about what I wanted. I used to just live in fantasy land in my head and assume that they would get it, what I'm thinking and feeling, and be able to read my mind as to what I wanted and what was acceptable and what wasn't acceptable. And that got absolutely nowhere. Right? Absolutely nowhere. So that clarity, that focus, and then a man could check in and say, yeah, that's for me. Or you could check out and say, no, that's not for me. And you could say, adios, see you later, have a good life, bye-bye.
And like, as you was explaining before, when you got that clarity and you said to that guy, hey, no way, Jose, it's done now. We're not sailing that ship together. And he moved on and was able to find something. So in that situation, you both had a win-win situation because you were released from something that probably wasn't very healthy for you both at that time, because you got that clarity. He also got clarity in terms of what he wanted and was able to attract that. So I think everything that you said there is absolute gold, because it is important to have everything in alignment as much as possible. But then also, this isn't like a tea coaster kind of thing that you just put down and just say, that's done. It's reviewing your goals, your values along the line, because things change. Life happens. You know, things can happen physically to us, mentally for us, you know, emotional turmoil, upheaval, all of that kind of stuff. So it's really important that we communicate our needs and review them, you know, regularly, to sit down with your partner and say, hey, how are we doing? Do an audit check, like a quality assurance check, just to find out how things are going. Relationships still require the effort into it in order for it to be sustainable, for it to be loving and a good quality relationship. It takes effort, but it should feel good with the effort and exciting for it. So, Careeta, let's talk about love in terms of what's your personal definition of love?
What a good question. I'm hearing Keisha Cole singing Love at the moment.
Come on, girl. Come on, sing it. Come on, I'm ready.
No. You don't want to do that right
now. Okay.
Oh, gosh. So, sing Keisha Cole. Love. So love for me is just like a deep, meaningful connection that's mutual with somebody. And it could be a partnership, it could be friendship, family. Like love, it's in many forms, but it's a deep connection. It's one of the strongest emotional connections that there is, if not the. So that for me is love. Yeah,
that's so lovely, because everyone's personal definition of love is completely unique. Whenever I speak to somebody about this, there's so many different takes on what love is. There's love in terms of the connection that we have with other people. Then there's the romantic love as well, and how people define that. But it's that deep connection, as you said. And does it provoke a feeling for you? So when you talk about that deep connection, what feelings come for you in that?
Yeah, it's a warm feeling. It's a feeling of joy. It's harmony, it's peace. It's just a feeling that is just so amazing. And it's for all of us. I just pray that everybody experiences love in their life.
Yeah, we are wired to connect as humans. That's just how we're here today. You're here to tell the tale. I'm here. We're wired to connect as humans. And in order to have that heart-to-heart connection with somebody, something that you've really shared and you have emphasized during our beautiful conversation has been about connecting with yourself first, before you are able to truly truly have that heart-to-heart connection with somebody else. So knowing your values, knowing what you stand for, not diminishing yourself too, because something else that you spoke about was that is that whole kind of mind reading that person might know when you meet somebody or you're in a relationship, but then also us people pleasing and changing our needs and our goals to fit in with whatever we think that person wants. But when you know yourself and you're being your authentic self, you will stand true in your power. And of course, relationships take give and take. You know, you're going to have an element of compromise and so forth. That's how relationships work, the dynamics of it. But when you can cooperate and come from a place, as Lisa Nichols says, carefrontation, not confrontation. Yeah, Lisa Nichols, she drops some gems, you know.
Got married as well.
Yeah, you know what, she is living it. She's living it. And it's that place of carefrontation and whatever you can do with somebody that you are connected with. But it first starts with yourself and knowing your values, knowing how you want to feel in love, because that's why I've asked you that. And you said that warmth, that joy, that you feel peace as well. Nobody wants drama, you know. Been there, done that.
Those days are over.
They are. And reflecting upon that, those days when you had the drama in your life was pretty much when you weren't on this self-empowering journey. Okay, because if the universal laws are at play here, you know, like attracts like, you attract your experiences because of the vibration you're in. So you change your vibration, you start to attract more pleasant, more harmonious, loving relationships too. So Careeta, I am going to bring this wonderful dance of a conversation that we've had to a close. I want to thank you so much for your time. However, before we go as well, I would love for you to share one key message that all of the listeners can take away that will help them on their journey of love, life, and relationships.
Absolutely. Remember, we are all born with a gift. We all have special skills, talents, and gifts that we can use to be successful. And now's the time to find your gift.
There's no time like now. What a wonderful lasting message for everybody. So everyone, you are born with a gift. And Careeta, please do let everybody who's listening know how they can find you and reach out to you, and any events that you may have coming up that they want to tap into.
Yeah, so at the moment you can contact me on LinkedIn. It's Careeta Robert-Green. And at events, there's a wait list now for my masterclass, for the next masterclass. However, you can download a free copy of 7 Secrets They Don't Want You to Know About Going to the Next Level. And we'll drop the links in this video as well, which is amazing.
We will do. They will all be there. All of the links to what Careeta has shared with us. Now, Careeta's journey is fantastic. She does phenomenal work with her clients. So I would strongly invite you to follow her and everything that she can do to help you to acknowledge your gift and to tap into it, because you are born with a gift. I absolutely love that. Careeta, thank you so much again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful conversation. So many gems. It's been gold. I knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much. And everybody else, thank you again for listening to this episode of Real Relationship Talk. Until next time, take great care of yourself and of others too.